on this show couldn't get on NBC, and they got billions of dollars. Huh? You think they know, and we know, and they don't know? You think all them right-wing generals see the best thing in the world is to be around an old white Christian that want to go to heaven. And so they tell everything, okay?
That's how I learned.
Everything. They know it, you know. You sit and listen to what's the guy that makes $300 million on the radio?
Oh, Rush Limbaugh?
Rush Limbaugh. You think Rush Limbaugh don't know everything you hear on this show? He can't say it because he knows they will kill him.
And he's probably listening.
You hear me? And why they don't kill us? They can't. You think they don't try? And so when you say, Mark from Anaheim, anytime I see something and I check it out and I call my people all over the world and I say, nah, I have to wait and see what Brother Mark, not that I need to, they need to be validated. He comes from a different slant because he's been there. He's been a cop. He's been there. He knows research. He can hear something. Like all that stuff about that pizza parlor, the guy walks in and shoots it up. That is a pedophile thing all over the world. And when you call in for your pizzas, according to what you order, that's the kind of child you want. Huh? That's what this is about. But you just don't walk around. There's certain things you don't let your children hear. Huh? There's people out there that call in. They listen. When them right-wing shows started coming on, man, white folks started looking like they was giving black folks a different respect. Why? Because Russ and them guys was giving them something to talk about at the water cooler. Huh? They don't know. Anytime the code is, raise your hand, swear your hand, you want them to die for America? Yes, that means if you mess up, I can kill you. That's what it means to them. And so when you sit and you listen and hear, and so all the people, you can get on the phone and call people, they'll come on the show because they know the respect you have around the world. They know you. And so before you came on this show, most folks ain't never heard of you, Paul. Okay? That don't mean you wasn't still. People tell me, man, I saw so and so. You told me this. I thought you was crazy. I can still be crazy, punk. What makes you think crazy people don't know nothing? But not because you have found out something to cover yourself, you had to think I'm still crazy, huh? And so somewhere, so Mark, man, we just love you, man, and you know something that the rest of them don't know. They can't kill you. They can't kill you.
Well, it's an honor being on the same program with my future ex-father-in-law.
Oh, wow. well, Mark, let me ask you this: General Petraeus, because you told us that they would rerun him again, dress him up, and now we see
they're going to clean up his image. See, in white America, and I'm not being hard on my white friends, but God knows I wouldn't know what I know.
You don't have to apologize for that. They don't apologize to you for nothing.
Well, that's true. But the thing about Petraeus is the fact that Petraeus saved Obama's administration. He did for Obama what Smedley Butler did for Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And Petraeus, because he was so silly thinking that some young white girl was going to be all hot for him, he allowed himself to be set up by an intelligence officer to have an affair. So when Petraeus came out and told Obama what was going on, the promise that the Republicans had made with him was, had he gone along with the coup against President Obama, General Petraeus would have been the first general since Eisenhower that would have been a nominee for the Republican ticket.
That's right.
But because he went and told Obama the whole dirty sort of secret, he resigned from the Obama administration. He had to go home and clean up things with his wife, because his wife's the daughter of a general. And then white folks love somebody who has sinned and now has become a born-again Christian.
Yep.
So that's what Petraeus has been doing for the last 2 years, is going around the country telling everybody how he was a sinner, but now he's found God, and he's part of that whole kind of like that moral majority right-wing Republican / pretend to be Christian coalition that's going on today.
So now watch this here. Watch this here. You know this. I heard the show that you might have said, and I know Carl know it. 2 weeks before that last election, they was going to kill somebody. And all you black folks out there think it was Obama. No.
Nope.
It was who was the guy that was running the Mormon guy?
You're talking about Mr. Romney.
They was gonna kill Romney. So y'all sit there and think y'all know. You don't know a damn thing. Do you think Jews in Germany thought they was part of the Nazi thing? They was gonna kill him, and you hit it, brother. When they said Petraeus, he was a Republican. The president picked him to run the CIA. Remember?
Yeah. After Robert Michael Gates, no less, who was a Republican.
Romney would have been killed. Then it was 2 weeks before. They ain't got time, so they take the Republicans across the country, the highest, and they picked the replacement, and it would have been Romney. Okay, I don't mean Romney. It would have been Petraeus. Petraeus is the one that trained ISIS. Huh?
Wow. Hang on a sec, Greg. We got to take a break here. We got to check out the traffic and weather together in the DMV. I'll let you finish the Petraeus story on the other side. Folks, you too can join the conversation. Dick Gregory, Markham, Anaheim, 800-450-7876. Let's go back to Dick Gregory before we left for the traffic and weather update. You're giving us a rundown on General Petraeus. That's what we were talking about, General Petraeus, and how he's been rehabilitated, and now Donald Trump is even inviting him, and he's in under consideration for a cabinet post.
Let me tell you something else when we was finishing up. Do you think somebody care in this rat, no good nation who are generals having sex with? Are you crazy? Huh? All that was, Mark, do you remember when they was chasing Petraeus and the only way he could save himself is have his driver run into the gate at the White House? Remember that?
I remember
Okay.
this, sir.
Not one paper printed. Did you hear what I said, Carl? They was running him down to kill him. And he went down Pennsylvania Avenue, and all they said the next day, a car crashed into the White House.
And that was all you heard.
That's all you heard. Now, if you go and look, see what made this so scary, the trillions of dollars that's invested in this country, what they won't tolerate is a military coup. Okay? The last time they had a big coup was the bankers was going to kill Roosevelt when he was speaking in Miami. In some kind of way they messed up and killed the mayor of Chicago. Okay? They couldn't talk about that because people would pull their money out the bank. Okay? You listen to them talk about China, all the stuff they doing. You ain't heard China mention nothing about give me my money back, have you? You ain't heard nobody, you heard none of these news people talk about the trillions of dollars we bought from China? What do you think that's about? And so they put it out there, and then all at once, they pick it up. Most of them news stints ain't no good, but we listen to it, and you know the things that I do? When I call in the shows like this here, I ain't going to tell y'all about it unless y'all can Google it. It'd be like you. If a white person said it, then they said it. I said,
Right.
well, Google so-and-so, and you'll see this. And so somewhere when you stop and think about, it ain't nothing but thugs and punks, man. Okay? And so when you stop thinking, December the 7th, 1941. December the 7th, 1941. Roosevelt was so cocained out, huh? Eleanor had to sign the Declaration of War, huh? Now, I'm going to say that to folks, listen to the radio. No, punch it up, Google it, and you'll find, then you'll believe it, okay? I know my mama. My mama told me Santa Claus was a white man. She was buying the toys, okay? All right?
Now, it's funny you mentioned December 7, 1941, because one of my mentors was actually the person who sent not one, but 3 cablegrams warning about that attack on Pearl Harbor, and they claim they never got them.
Wait a minute, ho. The secret code, right?
Yes, sir.
That the Japanese had. They would send stuff into the Japanese embassy in D.C.
Correct.
Hoover and the FBI cracked that code 18 months
Correct.
before. They
Now
knew when it was going
Now
on.
people are revising history and going, yeah, but the code that they used at the embassy was not the same code used by
Saying
Yamamoto.
a lie to get some sex. What do you think a white boy do to control the whole planet? Y'all crazy? Huh? Let me tell you, World War II, how can it be a world war when 95% of the planet's not fighting it? It wasn't about that. It was about a wipeout. They just now come out with a book called The Taste of War. more people was killed during World War II, from starvation than was killed by the military. Okay.
So, Mr. Nelson, I ask you right now again. We have a large population of people in this country, and there are no jobs. What do you do with them?
Wait, hold 1 minute. Hold what you just said. Let me say this. In the next 18 months, no trucks will need drivers. That's just been approved, okay? So you got 500,000, basically white men with no jobs, okay? They'll tear this country down to the ground. Not black men. Y'all ain't gonna do never call radio shows and talk to them. Okay? But now, what do you think they're gonna do? And so during World War II, at least 20 million people died from starvation, malnutrition, and all the things related to it. 19.5 million died from the war. It's a food thing. Oh, so y'all sitting around and you think you're going to talk to God, Jesus? The Pope came here. I look around, my knee wasn't made by the Baptist church or the Catholic church or the Muslim church. So why not go to the same person? I don't have no problem with that. When we sit around, black folks was here a billion years for white folks. Then when you check it out, they was making spears. So who was they killing? Ain't no white folks. They're killing each other. Why? Because culture. Or if you don't know your culture, ain't nothing but a violation. Are you serious? When the universe was put together, if you go to Japan today and get off the plane, can you read a Japanese newspaper? No. Why? Because there wasn't no such thing. You think the universe was God that made the moon, the sun, the stars? Made languages? Ain't no such thing as languages and vibration. All you folks out there that got children, all you folks out there got a car, you can be driving and hear something knocking and pull over. The car didn't say, hey, pull over. The thing is broke. You got a child 2 days old. You in one room, you and your ladies in the other room, and you know how that child feels by the vibration. So when y'all sit around and you pick up all this stuff by this wife, I had a Muslim cousin of mine said, I said, Merry Christmas. I don't believe in no white Christmas and all that. I said, brother, let me tell you something. Anytime Christmas falls on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and your bank is closed and you can't get your money, you believe in it. Huh? Anytime you can't mail a letter to your grandma because it's on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, y'all talk all that crap and it sounds good, huh? It sounds good. And then Kathy comes through and say, wait a minute. Here's what going on. You know what called your blessing is? You in a town. Now you go all over the world. People call me and tell me. I heard you on the show. You go all over the world. This here, Washington, D.C., is to the planet what Rome was. Okay? Rome.
That's why the symbol of Rome is on both sides of the U.S. flag in Congress.
Man, why don't you shut up? Scare my grandma. She up there looking at her coins now, she ain't got none. She looking at her coins and ain't got none. And those of you, when the show is over, see this brother here, you know what? Somebody gonna grab you one day, and we're gonna think you dead, and they just out there trying to say, now what else do you know? What else? And Carl too. See, Carl slick. Carl get there and play dumb like he don't know. Man, Carl knows so much. I be sitting with him sometime and I hear.
Yeah, he slips up sometimes.
You hear me? That's his job. That's his job. His job not to question where you get it. Shit, them people out there listening, they trust Carl. They love Carl. Huh? Carl comes here and put on that show, and people, look, the first one he did, they were standing in the rain. Man, it's the type of rain you hear about in the Philippines. They wasn't going nowhere. Okay? That's because if you sit, when Anaheim says it, I don't have to check it out. Okay? I just call my real researchers that get paid. Did you know that? Oh, okay. Well, your pay gonna go down 10%. you understand? And this brother might be 2 people. He might be 4 or 5 people, man. You know, he just listen to his voice.
Speaking about that though, speaking about might be two or 3 people. Any of you heard about when Hillary fainted at the World Trade Center at the ceremony?
Was her body double?
Yeah. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, wait, call. Yeah, we let the master talk. when she fainted. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they put her in the car and carried her by her daughter's house, right?
Right.
Well, look, let's say you don't know us, and we bodyguards, okay, Secret Service, and 2 more people, and we bodyguard for you because you running for president. Our job, you in our care. You not in her daughter's care. And if something happened to you, our job is to take you to the hospital, not to your daughter's house.
There it is.
And all the people that use the satellites, satellites, they say which the one went in ain't the one that came out. Now, do I care what my grandmother thinks? Truth ain't never had to be validated by dumb, ignorant knowledge, okay? No, the one went in, and they even got the amount of inches shorter she was. My job is to take you to the hospital where you can be examined because we in charge. We responsible for you. If these damn mics go out and the radio shut down, that ain't your job. It's Kathy and her son and the people running it and the engineers. That's their job. They don't get fired, okay? So our job is to protect you till we take you back, and then another group protect you. Our job is when you faint to take you to your sister's house. And let me tell you another thing. During the World Series, man, you didn't hear no news. All you got to do is Google it about the campaign. You didn't know even we was having an election. It was about 2 ignorant teams. Chicago hadn't won a game in 112 years. Playing a team in Cleveland ain't won in 74 years. So white folks are so depressed. They sitting looking at 2 teams play the World Series that been lost over 160 games together. And the cheapest ticket was $4,000. You know how depressed white folks are? Are you crazy? Now watch this now. So all at once now, Cleveland won 3 games in a row.
There it is.
Now wait a minute now. Watch this. Because if y'all understood this, you would be wealthy. So let me tell you. So now...
Hold that thought, Greg, because we got to take another quick break here. 800-450-7866. Those folks out there is the Dick Gregory and also Mark from Anaheim. 800-450-7876. You got a question for these gentlemen? That's the number to call. Before we left, Greg, I'll let you finish up what you're saying, and then I'll answer Mark's question about the overpopulation.
When we get off the phone, I will tell you who the one I'm talking about. The ball game, the World Series. He made $190 million. But you got to bet through Tokyo. And it's a thing called a menu. And if you put up $1 billion, you got to bet that whole $1 billion off. They bet will the national anthem last 1.2 minutes or 1.5. Okay? Now you can bet it all on that, or you can bet the whole menu. Okay? And you go to Tokyo where they have the big payouts. And so here's what they did. They called me. I said, no, I don't gamble, man. But I know you do. And my old crazy son do. You know. So here's what happened. The Cleveland won the first 3 games. Okay? Now, the White Sox had the best team in both leagues this year. Okay? So here's what happened. So now they got 4 games to play. Okay? Any old fool know that out of 4 games, Cleveland gonna win 1. So they didn't win none. So here's the way the bettors did. The ones that didn't know how it was gonna come out, they know that Cleveland's gonna win 1 out of 4, so they bet all 4 on Cleveland and lost trillions of dollars. Okay? That's what this game is about. Now, Hillary, she lived there in Chicago. Here's where she was born. On the time of the World Series, they didn't talk about no primary. All they talked about. Hillary didn't even go. She off somewhere in Gooseneck, Georgia, at a rally. 4 people show up, and 3 of them are black. and nobody said, so I said, hey, wait a minute, man. Somebody got to explain this to me. Okay? And so when you look at what's going on, you know damn good and well in the Super Bowl last year, what was that, Beyonce? You know when Medea come and singing the black stuff. No. That was done by choreographers. That was done by white folks. And y'all stupid enough to believe the white folks didn't know what she was gonna do. You rehearse a month before the Super Bowl. Come on, that's how much money they paying you. They didn't know it was gonna happen. So y'all just sitting around playing games and doing all your crazy stuff, and you don't sit down and think.
Hey, Greg, you like this?
For a minute, okay?
So, Greg, you like this because regarding the World Series, the night that the Dodgers lost and were out of the series, I was in an Irish pub down here in Costa Mesa, California. So I stood up in the room and I told these two white women, I said, listen, if you promise me that you're not going to bet, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in the World Series. And everything you just said, I told them 2 weeks before the World Series, and I documented it. And now all these folks are mad at me because I wouldn't tell them because they knew they could have won a lot of money had I told them.
Yeah, no, but that's the other part of you. I didn't do no shows, calls or no shows, 3 days before the election because I knew they was going to blame it on Negroes.
Of course.
And I don't want nobody talking about, because you said, I did a book 50 years ago, said the shadow that scared me, that's Trump. I didn't know the name then. If you go out in the sun and see a shadow of your house, the shadow of your house is bigger than the house. Okay? If y'all silly enough to believe all them rich trillionaire Republicans, Rockefeller, Mellon, DuPont, would let him say that, if that wasn't the plan, they'd blow his brains out. Okay? We sit around and we look at them white folks sitting there saying, hey, wait a minute, Obama wasn't born here. We want his birth certificate. Well, I can't give you my birth certificate. And the only hassle I have with Obama is, why did you say you wouldn't, and then you said you would? That's like me saying the fact that I didn't shoplift nothing, and then after 2 years I said, oh, yeah, I did take a pair of socks. Okay? Now, let's look at something. When Obama finally told we release my birth certificate, okay? Now, he can't do that because the woman who's in charge of the health department over there is the only one can do that. So she released it. 2 months later, she was dead. 9 people on the airport, and she the only one died. And when I get through my secret stuff and get the autopsy, she had no water in her lungs. Okay? So y'all sitting around looking at voodoo and hoodoo and all that crazy stuff. Okay? And so when you sit there and you look at it, just leave it alone. You black folks and ignorant white folks, you want to start talking before the people's talking, and you didn't know nothing. And so that's what this is about. And that's why this brother here, man, he calls off names of folks I ain't never heard of. Okay? I ain't never heard of. My folks just give me the top. That's all I pay for. Give me the top. Give me the top. Okay? And so one thing is that the thrill, and then I'm going to shut up and listen to the wisdom. And I'm not saying that facetiously. Let me tell you something. The one thing I feel sorry for you, Carl, is you not doing what I had the privilege to do, sit across from Kathy Hughes and do a show.
Me either. I've never got to do that.
Huh? You hear me? The psychic power that comes through her. I pick up, those of you that know me, I buy over $1,000 worth of newspapers every 10 days. Okay? The number one paper is the Miami Herald. Because for 150 years, them rich Jews, see, all papers, New York Times, they print the New York Times for 5th grade readers. Huh? Don't think you intelligent because you got the New York Times under your arm and all that crap. You go get the Wall Street. You don't need no Wall Street Journal. You turn on TV and see serious white boys saying, if you buy one suit, you get 7 for free. And you don't know how messed up the economy is? Huh? They wipe shoplifters out of business. My cousin was a shoplifter. He said, man, it's cheaper for me to go and buy one suit, get 6 free, then take the one suit back. You know, and say it didn't fit. Okay? But y'all sitting there talking about Jesus. Any black person that sings Amazing Grace, you got to be some kind of fool. Do you know who wrote Amazing Grace? The number one slave dealer, trader in the history of slavery and the planet. And he saw the storm coming up, and he prayed because his daddy used to be was a preacher, so he understood that before he gave it all up. And he said, if you just let me live. Just let me live. I'll repent. I will write all the stuff that I've done.
And what is your favorite newspaper, Greg?
The favorite one? The Miami Herald.
And, you know and what county is that in?
Huh?
What county is that in?
What county?
Yeah.
Oh, Miami.
Dade County, Florida, the #1 CIA recruiting county for more than the last 50 years.
Did you hear me? You know that, right? You know that. So Carl, don't tell Carl too much. He got to go over there and get his soup. And, he lives right around the corner. Now watch this here. To follow what you just said, when Amflax broke, D.C. was number of black places. The first Amflax was the Globe, okay? In Fort Lauderdale, the building still closed up, okay? They sell like 17 million copies a day. You see them old white folk going into the grocery store getting them. You laughing at it, but you go buy some funny books and buy some crack from the slave master's great-great-great-grandson, okay? All these people being killed in Atlanta. How do you black folks sit there that had these children and know that wasn't no killing that came out your belly? What are they putting in the food? Okay? Why is it all these black political folks, you can't get a political run now unless you finish college? Okay? How they get caught? Because there's something inside of us. We love to be invited out by white folks and don't realize what they putting in our food. Okay? And so when you stop and think about and look at it, and when this brother sits and says, hey, man, this is such and such, he's holding back, man. Because all y'all don't need to hear this. I could tell y'all some stuff, and the reason I don't want to discredit myself. I don't care about what you think. Black folks made me, and any of y'all ever see me get up on the stage, okay, and still I started doing them little comedy clubs, 99% of my audience is white folks, okay? 99% of my audience is white folks.
Mark asked, because what are they going to do with a bunch of folks?
No, I said to you, if you were running this country right now, we got a large population of people that ain't no jobs, what would you do with them?
Mm-hmm. Great.
Either offload them, because if you're going to put them in prison, you're going to have to pay to feed them, so you got to figure a way to get rid of them.
There you go. You heard it, folks. Even Mr. Nelson says you got to figure a way to get rid of them.
The word is called, for those of y'all want to go deeper, it's called useless eaters.
There it is.
Kissinger designed it, and it was on the lock and key for 75 years like he was a president, and some folks went and said, no, release it, okay? And that's where you're going. When you think of useless eaters, you don't think of doctors and lawyers and bankers. That's where this is going.
Let me tell you how far back this even goes. Like, here in the city of Los Angeles, the biggest water sewage treatment plant is down at Dockweiler Beach. Well, that's not the place where it was originally planned for. You know where it was originally planned, Mr. Nelson?
No, where?
South Central Los Angeles. Because they were planning on using that facility to eliminate lots of bodies. The problem was the soil in South Central could not withstand the weight of that structure, so they decided to relocate it down near El Segundo at Dockweiler Beach. That's why you see all these major power plants with these furnaces, but you don't ever see any smoke coming out of these furnaces. All those furnaces are already equipped to eliminate lots of human bodies.
They did a movie called Soylent Green, remember?
Soylent Green, yeah.
Remember?
Soylent Green are people!
Mark, let me ask you this. Donald Trump, what was the deal with Carrier, with the air conditioning company?
Well, first of all, Carrier is only going to keep about 600 jobs here. And those jobs are not being kept here because of Donald Trump. It's being kept here because these folks didn't vote for Donald Trump. They voted for that Hitler evangelical Mike Pence. I'm going to say this to your listeners again. The most dangerous elected official in this country is Ted Cruz. The second most dangerous is Mike Pence. They didn't vote for Trump. They voted for Pence. Pence is now going to screw all the Indiana taxpayers, the state of Indiana, because they're going to pull up the slack for what Carrier is not going to have to pay in taxes that they should be paying to the state. So out of all these jobs that they said, Trump saved, only about 600. They're still going to move 3 of their plants down to Mexico because the plant's already built in Mexico. And even this thing with Boeing. Let me tell you the truth about Boeing. Because Trump came out and says, "Oh my God, one Air Force One cost $4 billion." That's a lie. First of all, Boeing only has a they have a $137 million contract for a proposal. If you build an Air Force One, you have to also build 3 others. You need 2 Air Force Ones and 2 Air Force Twos. Now, Brother Greg knows this. By the way, for you folks who don't know this, Dick Gregory was the first black man in this country to run for U.S. president. On Air Force One, you have to have an operating room, an emergency operating room as in a hospital, and a plane that can survive a nuclear cloud. So when Donald Trump comes out and talks his crap, the only reason he went after Boeing is because the Chicago Tribune had just printed an article where the CEO of Boeing said he didn't really like the way Donald Trump was talking about going after the tariffs and trades and the regulations that Obama set up. When that Boeing CEO made that public, that's when Donald Trump came out and attacked him. It has nothing to do with the cost of Air Force One. They're already letting you know, if Trump and or Pence, and I say if Trump and or Pence get in the White House, you will not publicly ridicule them or they will shut you down immediately.
And you're saying as if there may be a possibility that Trump may not make it to the White House?
Hey, Greg, is there a possibility that Trump may not make it to the White House?
First, let's go back there. How you know that's Trump?
There you go.
See, the one you saw in the red tie, that was Trump. Any Trump you saw in another tie, that was the decoy.
Body double.
And when Trump come out and called the black doctor, called him a pedophile, and the next day he joined Trump, I said, oh, what kind of pictures y'all got on him? Okay? So you sit here and understand theater, and look at what's going down. You don't know.
You don't even have the same hair color 2 days in a row.
You ought to stop that, boy. You know what? Oh, God, I wish
let me ask you this. Jill Stein, what's the deal with her? Is she working?
Jill Stein is, first of all, let me get this clear to all the listeners out there. You had 5 people running for president. You had a CIA agent out of Utah. You had the Libertarian. You had the Green Party. You had the Democratic Party. And you had the Republican Party. What do all those 5 people have directly in common with each other? The John Birch Society. All of them.
Including Hillary.
Stein and Flynn, that's Trump's right-hand man. Flynn was the DIA general who got fired by Obama. Jill Stein and Flynn went over to Russia and had dinner drinking cocktails with Putin back in November of last year. Jill Stein's not doing a recount because of Hillary Clinton. Right now in this country, they have 33 states. All they need is one more state to do what's called an Article 5 Constitutional Convention. If they do an Article 5 Constitutional Convention, the federal government no longer exists. All the power goes back to the state. If Jill Stein's voter recount is successful, it will cause a constitutional crisis, which will do the same thing as if they had their 34 states. And these dumbass Democrats jumping on the bandwagon supporting Jill Stein don't even realize it's all to set up a system where we were going right back to 1861 with the states versus the federal government, which is going to lead to a civil war. And California is already talking about succeeding, which is what South Carolina did back in 1861.
So Jill Stein knows this, and Trump knows
Jill
it.
Stein knows it.
Hillary knows it.
Obama and Hillary know it too.
Wait, Carl. Let's say your brother and my brother run for president, right? My brother ain't never had no physics, ain't never finished high school. But he wins. You think he gonna get the keys to the nuclear bomb?
There you go.
That briefcase, nothing in that briefcase but some pork chops and some mayonnaise. I mean, y'all, that's crazy. Anybody, let me tell you, if I become president of the United States, okay, and I pick the CIA, I got 8 years I'll be there. The people that run the CIA have been there 40 years, huh?
Presidents come and go. We stay forever.
That's right. And so consequently, you think ain't nobody got the key to that nuclear thing except them cold-blooded, hateful, killing generals.
Hey, those are my mentors you're talking about.
Yeah, so this is the game. Let me tell you, if you get to New York, I left my briefcase down in the car. If you punch up while the show is on, somebody punch up the Wall Street Journal November the 7th, 4, 5, 6, 7, Friday, 1968. They shut all the counting down because they proclaimed Dick Gregory President-elect of the United States.
There it is.
Why? Because it showed that Dick Gregory pulled 9 million votes in the state of Pennsylvania.
Same state they're talking about now, Pennsylvania.
You hear me? Okay? In the state of Pennsylvania, 9 million. They declared me president, assumed president. Okay?
I am honored to be on a radio show with the Commander-in-Chief.
All right, let me ask both of you this then. So why do they want Donald Trump in the office then?
Who said they want Donald Trump
in the office?
He
ain't in the office. Damn it! He's the shadow. I come by and look at the shadow in your house, and a chump sell me the shadow, and I come and tell y'all to get out. Are you crazy?
All right, why do they want the Republicans to win? Let me rephrase my question.
Ain't no Republicans and Democrats except to poor white folks and niggas. Huh?
Did you not hear the part I just said to you, Mr. Nelson? Let me say this again to you and the listeners. All 5 people, including the CIA boy out of Utah, all have direct ties to the John Birch Society. All you Democrats who love Hillary, she's a Barry Goldwater girl. That's where the John Birch Society came from. Reagan was Barry Goldwater's speechwriter and his spokesperson in '64. Reagan took over the White House when they stole the election by holding my fellow Marines hostage so that Jimmy Carter could get reelected. And the programs that you see Donald Trump doing right now, all he's doing is continuing what Reagan tried to do in 1980 and 1984.
And that's the game.
That's the game.
Let me ask my black kinfolks. Why if somebody call you a nigger, you get mad, but if they call you a billionaire, you don't? You ain't gonna be neither one of them. So why you pick the negative? Why you ain't gonna? You can never be a nigger, and you can never be a billionaire. Okay, but you get mad. You pick the negative one, and try to get in it. But the one, if you don't take something that you ain't gonna be, why don't you take the billionaire?
And I hope to God before we leave this show today that please somebody call in and tell me I'm lying that Jill Stein and Mike Flynn were not having caviar and cocktails with Vladimir Putin back in November of 2015.
So you say we're being played.
Of course you're being played. Well, you think I stopped voting after? Let me just tell you this, because you folks don't know this. I was being groomed. Now, Brother Greg alludes to this. I was an insider. If I had sold my soul, I'd be one of those generals, if not some politician. You guys be kissing my ass.
Yeah, that's
I don't kiss nobody's ass. I don't kiss nobody's Masonic ring, and I refuse to sell my soul. I was brainwashed just like many people in this country, and I started seeing things in 1992 that I'm like, wait a minute, Democrats, Republicans, these guys are all corrupt. By 1994, 1996, I dropped out.
Hang on a second, Mark. We got to take this quick break. We're closing in on the top of the hour. I'll let you finish your story on the other side.
Yes, sir.
Folks, we'll take your calls as well at 800-450-7876 right here on 1450 AM and also 95.9 FM WOL, where information is power.
$14.50 WOL.
Thank you for staying with us on Guest to Dick Gregory and also Mark Brown. Listen, you know, Mark Brown, you're listening, folks, and you'll see what you've been missing. So, Mark, I'm going to let you finish your story. Is Mark there?
Yeah, Mark's on. I hear.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Nelson. What happened was I started doing radio shows with you a couple of weeks after the 1992 civil unrest, rebellion, riots, whatever you want to call it here in L.A. And the first time I ever came on your show, I heard all your listeners talking all this crap about what they think happened. And I said, listen to me. In 1965, Watts riots, Highway Patrol, black man. Same thing in 1992, Rodney King, whatever. 1965, the chief of LAPD and LAPD was slow to respond because he was at a fundraiser. 1992, Darrell Gates was at a fundraiser, slow to respond. 1965, when the Watts riots ended, former CIA Director John McCone investigates LAPD. 1992, former CIA Director and FBI Director, by the way, William Elster. And I came on your show and told your listeners, I go, it worked so well in 1965, and since people are so ignorant and don't do their homework, they pulled it off again in 1992. You were had. And that's when I started doing shows with you. How did I know all this?
Wait, 1 second, though. Let me throw this in before you continue. The only thing they didn't do was Dick Gregory, the first person to get shot in the Watts.
The first black person during the 1965 Watts riots that got shot in the leg was also, and 3 years later, became the first black man to run for U.S. president.
That's right, Dick Gregory.
Well, you see, here's what we are. Now, Mark,
Yes,
you got to do this for me.
Yes, sir.
There was 2 other people in the car with Rodney King. Okay.
Yes, sir. Oh, you mean like Freddie G, who mysteriously had a car accident and died before he testified?
Okay.
Because he's the one that got his ass beat.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Freddie G got his ass beat. That's why when the flashlight incident happened with Southeast officers, where I was working when it happened, that was not the first time LAPD was involved in a flashlight beating. Freddie G got his ass beat so badly with flashlights up there in Lakeview Terrace during the Rodney King beating, and you never heard about it. And then when he was supposed to testify, he had a mysterious car accident on the way to go testify.
Now, watch this here. So the 2 disappeared.
That's
so
correct.
when you sit and look at it, Rodney King had been found guilty by a judge, sentenced to 8 years in jail, and nobody explained why he was out.
That's typical.
Now you got the Korean woman, where the girl was in the store, and she shot her in the back of the head, right?
That's right. A white man got more time in jail for kicking a dog than a Korean woman got for shooting an unarmed black girl in the back of the head.
They was making that all build up so y'all will be mad because you ain't
angry.
Nothing. Okay?
And they're doing the same thing now.
Here's what Mark, here's what my man Carl said. He went out to celebrate the 20th anniversary?
Yeah.
Okay, he went to celebrate the 20th anniversary of a show that was the #1 show in L.A. And when his went off, all the white stations picked up. Everybody was listening because it came on at 4 o'clock in the morning. Am I right, Carl?
That's correct.
Now, watch this here. So after I was out there, and Carl said, look, you coming on the show. Said, we got Rodney King here. He got a new book coming out. Remember that, Carl?
Yeah.
And you said, once you stay out of him, I said, well, he better do it and do it quick, because he'll be dead by the end of the week, huh? Okay? Was he dead?
And let me tell you that what you folks don't know that Rodney King and I have in common. We were both black surfers. And then all of a sudden, he mysteriously dies in his swimming pool.
Yeah, there's something in his swimming pool. And then the ride started. Now, listen to this here. When the ride started, it was 18,360 black folks arrested. Huh? When it started. From the day it started to the day it ended. They can't account for 10,000 of them. Okay?
That's correct. And I'll tell you something else about that. Prior to the riots, there were freight trains down on Watts that were just left there. No guards or nothing around them. Black folks are thinking, damn, I could steal me some TV sets, some big screens, some whatever. And the cars were unlocked. They opened up the freight cars. Guess what they found, Mr. Nelson?
What's that?
Thousands of firearms. They opened up the other freight cars. Guess what they found? Thousands of rounds, hundreds of thousands of rounds of ammunition to go with the thousands of firearms they found. I wish I was making this up.
Now, this is before or after?
Huh?
I'm sorry? This was before the Civil War. This was before the April 29, 1992.
Look here, Carl, I'm going to tell you to do this because I know Anaheim already got it. You was probably with them when they did it. The New York Times. Google the New York Times. 1.5 million black men is missing. You can't get that on NBC or CBS. I'm going to say it again. 1.5 million black men is missing, and that's not in jail. Missing means they don't know where you are. They know, well, where are they? And then punch up an article, Google an article in the Washington Post. They call it the Express. Today, Earth is a little less lonely. That's where they got them. But y'all sit with that mumbo-jumbo crap and then all that stuff where if somebody, make a person but God. Ask Hitler. And then you get the movie, The Boys in
from Brazil. The boys from Brazil. That's my boys. That's my hero. Well, you know, Mr. Nelson, I don't know, brother Greg. You know, you do realize I'm a Nazi experiment, right?
No.
That's why all my mentors are former OSS and Nazi.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
No. So, Boys from Brazil, that's Mr. Nelson. I recommend all your listeners watch Boys from Brazil. But let me go back to something Greg just said, because Mr. Nelson, I did come on your show back in the 90s because you had a brother who came on the show. And what Brother Greg is telling listeners right now, I asked this question to him, and you know who it is? Ted Hayes. So, Mr. Nelson, tell the listeners who Ted Hayes is.
Ted Hayes is he'll call himself a homeless advocate. He's down on Skid Row trying to help the homeless.
Right. And so I came on the show because I know he works for the Republican Party, and I know he's deep inside with the right wing. And I said,
who was he married to?
Oh, that's right.
European.
Huh?
He's married to a white. And his daughter was representing the U.S. in the Olympics. I think
there it is.
Okay.
Now, check this out. So this is what I asked Ted Hayes on Mr. Nelson's show out here on KTLA, Stevie Wonder Station. I go, so Ted Hayes, we had the 1992 civil unrest. We had, and by the way, I know all about this because I had to be Ruth Galanter's personal bodyguard during this because she had already had her throat slashed before she got elected to city council, and LAPD SWAT had to guard the Pope. I said, so the Pope was in town. What happened to all the homeless? I go, we had the 1984 Olympics. What happened to all the homeless? I go, we had the 1992 riots. We had curfews. What happened to all the homeless? And Ted Hughes did not have an answer. All he was like, well, yeah. It seemed like they all disappeared.
Let me throw something real quick about Ruth Galanter. I didn't know that you were assigned to Ruth Galanter.
Oh, yeah, let me tell you, Ruth Galanter, I know I got some folks from L.A. listening right now. Ruth Galanter hated cops so much. Now, you know, because, see, at that time, I have to tell folks this. I had just left active duty as a Marine Corps officer. I was one of those guys they considered a psycho. They knew if there's something that needed to be done and they needed somebody who they could depend on, it would be myself. So when President Reagan was still in the White House, and he and Nancy Reagan would be out here in California. Most folks don't know this. At that time, LAPD had a red phone in our air support division of Piper Tech. So when President Reagan came to L.A., we handled his security. Because of me being a psycho, see, Brother Greg said he's crazy. I'm psycho. So when somebody in West L.A., like in the Venice area, Westchester, all those areas, if there was some guy who the FBI, CIA, or Secret Service had identified as a potential threat to President Reagan, I'm the guy they sent to keep an eye on those people. Okay? Anyway, so what happened was...
Let me just give you this brief story on Ruth Galanter, because it includes Tavis Smiley. Because Tavis ran against her in Venice, and Tavis was leading in the polls up until she was attacked, had her throat
Exactly, that's how she won. But
right.
you talking
if that
happen.
didn't happen, Tavis would have went into politics and instead came back to radio.
No. Let me enlighten you folks. Okay? You have no idea. The person that would have won that election is a white woman from San Pedro. Now, when I was still in the Marine Corps, and one of the guys who I was very, very, very close to was Arlie McCree. Arlie McCree was considered the preeminent bomb expert on the planet. He and his partner, Ron Ball, they went down to San Pedro, and Ron Ball was so good with bombs that he defused a bomb on a city councilwoman's doorstep with 17 seconds left on the timer. Both Ron Ball and Arlie McCree were blown up, and they blamed it on a black guy who does special effects in Hollywood. The person that Ruth Galanter took out was not Tavis Smiley. It was the re-election of that city councilwoman in San Pedro, because she was going to win. What you had was twin brothers who lived across the street from Ruth Galanter. This is how they always got away with murder, by the way. These guys have committed several murders, but when you go to court, the witness could never tell you who it was because these guys were identical twins. So this guy lived directly across the street from Ruth Galanter, slashed her throat. LAPD SWAT was busy with the Pope at the time, so they knew I was the psycho. I could protect Ruth Galanter. Let me just give you an idea of who Ruth Galanter was. She hated cops so much. I had a white female partner. She wouldn't even let us in her house. Now, we're her bodyguards. I got to watch a white woman squat and pee and show me everything in the alley, because for us to use the bathroom, we had to pee in the alley behind Galanta's house. Carl, you have no idea what's going on. Trust me, it ain't Tavis Smiley they took out. They took out Pat Russell, because Pat Russell was running for re-election, and these guys had put a bomb on her doorstep. Trust me. But Tavis Smiley was a contender. But the fact is this, and Carl is right for the listeners out there who don't know this. Ruth Galanta did not drop out the race. She got the sympathy vote because she got a throat slash, and I was one of the guys who made sure she stayed alive until she got elected. You guys have no idea.
That's what the whole game is. And so
that's
when
the
you
whole
stop,
game.
when you stop and think about, the
And hey, Dee Dee Meyer, because I know you're listening.
She used to be, was she Hillary's President Clinton's press secretary after she left L.A.
Oh,
hang
yeah,
on,
but
fellas, we got to take a break. I hear the drummers
Come back
warming up.
after that.
Right, hang on a second. The drummers are warming up and tell us we got to take a break and check the traffic and weather in the DMV. And we got some folks that got questions for you. We talk to them next right here on 14. Thanks for staying with us, folks. I get your calls in a moment, and thank you guys for being so patient. I really want to talk to you very Mark and Anaheim. So let me get back to Mark. And Mark, I'm going to let you finish what you're saying. We'll let folks talk to you guys.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil. So, folks, let me finish this, because trust me, I hope you're sitting on the edge of your seat just writing all this down. Now, I specifically mentioned Ron Ball and Arlie McCree. When I was an active duty Marine Corps, I was part of Rapid Deployment Force, so I already knew who Arlie McCree was. So when I was in the LAPD Academy as a recruit, while everybody else in my class, and by the way, my class is getting ready to have a little class reunion, and I might show up for it, maybe I won't. But when the rest of my class was gone, I'm sitting in the room with Ron Ball and Arlie McCree, because even though I was just an LAPD recruit, I was a Marine Corps officer. So I knew who Arlie was. He was very well respected, the greatest bomb expert on the planet. And he was blown up with a pipe bomb in North Hollywood. Why am I telling you folks all this? I've had several contracts on my life while with LAPD. And you know Mr. Nelson, who was always the person to carry those contracts out? LAPD cops. Well, one of these LAPD cops who had the green light to take me out, you know why he never did?
No, why?
He's a relative of Arlie McCree. And when I told him how Arlie McCree really died, all of a sudden he didn't carry out the contract to kill me while I was LAPD. Because Ron Ball and Arlie McCree were blown up in a pipe bomb in North Hollywood. Why? You folks, we already talked about the 1992 civil unrest, 1992 riots. Arson is not a black crime. Arson is a white boy crime. Yet all you folks want to believe that Negroes and Hispanics went out and set fires during the riots. Arlie McCree created a device for the U.S. government. That was a perfect device that you can toss on the top of a building and be gone. And then 5-10 minutes later, that device would create a fire. Many, if not most, of the fires during the L.A. riots, the buildings burned from the roof down. In fact, I even have video. Well, I don't know if I have it, because I'm going to name him right now, because there's a guy named Ben Pine from National Geographic doing a whole research on the riots, and I gave him all my videotapes. But there are videotapes from the L.A. riots where Fox 11 News reporters specifically stated, we see the fires, but we don't see any cars in the area, because they tossed those devices on the top of the roof, and they're gone before the fire started. Arlie McCree was blown up because there was a United States military plane coming out of Germany that was blown up by so-called terrorists. On that plane, they found hundreds of millions of dollars in duffel bags, but they also found Arlie McCree's devices. So when he investigated that terrorist bombing, he's like, what the hell is going on? He started asking questions. Next thing you know, he and Ron Ball are dead in North Hollywood. Okay? You guys have no idea what's going on in this country.
All right. Let's go some
So, but this is important. I'm going to finish this. So as far as what was going on and what I'm telling you about the riots, from what I saw in the fire patterns for the riots, it appeared they were using Arlie McCree's devices, tossing them on the top of buildings. For you folks who don't realize now, L.A. has this great Metrolink system. The first 3 days of the riots was recorded by the L.A. Times on the front page in a map. That map was the perfect match to what the Tom Bradley proposed Metrolink system was, because they're going to build that Metrolink system, and if these black folks weren't willing to sell, they took the insurance money and their buildings got burned to the ground. That's called urban renewal, Negro removal. Now we call it gentrification. See what I'm trying to tell you here, Mr. Nelson? So those fire patterns, it was not by accident. So when Brother Greg talked about, all the stuff that's going on, and you brought up this whole thing about Ruth Galanta, I was her personal bodyguard because of that whole thing that was going on with the Pope. And I mentioned the Pope, folks, only because Ted Hayes could not answer my questions. What happened to all the homeless people when the 1984 Olympics happened? Oh, by the way, folks, the Olympics are probably going to come back to L.A. again. So what Brother Gregory and I are trying to tell you, most of my mentors were former World War II Nazi members, former Office of Strategic Services old boys, former Office of Naval Intelligence old boys. They know what the term useless eater comes from, because that comes from Hitler. My New Order, that's his book. Donald Trump's speeches come directly out of the book My New Order. And they plan on going after the useless eaters.
800-450-7876, line 2. Clark's calling us from California. Clark, thank you for being so patient. You have a question for
thank you.
Mark from Anaheim?
Yes, well, hi. I just wanted to first thank Mark from Anaheim and Dick Gregory for the information that they're getting.
Brother, what part of California are you from?
I'm in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So a couple things I want to say is, one, what do you guys think the end game is for this that's going on? Is it a one-world government? And another thing I caught notice on is I saw that Henry Kissinger was in the meeting with Donald Trump. So if anybody thinks that there's something special going on, then what is Henry Kissinger doing there?
I'm sorry, brother. That's a very astute observation. I'm sorry, brother, but let me just put it this way. Kissinger rules, okay? I had known about Kissinger. By the way, folks, before you guys don't know this, Kissinger was a Hitler youth. Did you know that, Mr. Nelson?
No, I did not.
Kissinger was a Hitler youth. And there have been many, including Marine Corps generals, who've come out and have said, I take my orders from Henry Kissinger.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I ain't going to lie to you, folks. So anyway, to answer your question, see, Brother Gray, what he's doing now, he's doing to me what I normally do to him. Normally, I put him on the spot and let him answer the questions. He's just sitting back and shutting up to see how I'm going to answer. To answer your question, brother, is this. I started doing radio shows with Carl Nelson in 1992 to let him know about all the globalist organizations I was personally a member of. Now, let me just give you all folks just one of these so you can write this down and do your own research. While you folks are worried about the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights, here in California, the Bohemian Grove is where the United Nations was created in 1945. Every country in the world was a member except for Russia. It was a black man, a boule boy, Ralph Bunch, behind the scenes who set up that whole United Nations meeting at the Bohemian Grove. Now, why am I saying this to you? I was a member of many of the organizations, and here's one that most of your listeners have never heard, Mr. Nelson. The World Constitution and Parliament Association. Not U.S. Constitution, the World Constitution and Parliament Association. Guys like Jesse Jackson speaks at those. You Google that one, folks. Every world leader around the world is a member. And let me just tell you why I dropped out of all those organizations. I became very angry. I turned down a chance under the Clinton administration for a Fulbright scholarship as well as a Whitehouse fellowship. Because when I realized how corrupt and how dirty both the Democratic and Republican parties were, and that they were all in bed together, I dropped out. The two women who I will never forget, and both were murdered, one, Martha Mitchell. The other, write this name down, folks, Mary Pinchot Myers, P-I-N-C-H-O-T, Meyer, M-E-Y-E-R. Mary Pinchot Meyer, oh my God. And a black man, of course, was accused for her murder, and thank God. So when you guys Google and do some research, you're going to realize there's always black folks that saved this damn country. There was a black female one of the first black women, by the way, in the U.S. Army during World War II. She later became a lawyer in this country. It was a black female who made sure that black guy did not convicted for a crime he never committed. And to this day, nobody has ever been convicted of that murder. Well, Mary Pinchot Meyer was one of John F. Kennedy's mistresses. She, and my phone is going berserk, she was a member of some of the organizations that I later became a member of, because they were really trying to seek world peace in this country. If you go for world peace, they will kill you. Mary Pinchot Meyer had a diary far greater than Marilyn Monroe's on the Kennedys, John and Robert. And when she thought she was going to come out and tell the people what was really going on, they killed her while she was running on a trail near the Potomac River up there in Georgetown University. Mary Pinchot Meyer. So if you want to know, guys, why I've been so angry for all these years, it's because Martha Mitchell was murdered and because of Mary Pinchot Meyer. And I was a member of many of the organizations that still exist today that they were members of. So I hope that helps to answer your question, sir, about the one world government. It's here, and Donald Trump ain't going to stop it. All these globalists are already in positions of power. They may get the white rednecks to vote for the nationalists and the populists and get the Alex Jones and all those folks, but the one world government is here. And by the way, I should say this to you, too, and they're all Luciferian.
800-450-7876. Coming up on a break, let's see if we can reach out to Kwame on line 4. Kwame's calling us from Charlotte. Kwame, you're on with Mark and Dick.
Charlotte?
Hello, gentlemen.
Charlotte?
Hello. Peace to you and love.
Charlotte, all you black folks don't know it, Charlotte Mecklenburg is named after a black woman because Queen Charlotte was a black woman. But I'm sorry, brother, go ahead.
All right, thank you, sir. I have a question. Do these writers for The Simpsons did they have an idea that Donald Trump was going to be president? Because you know they did a cartoon predicting him being president.
Okay, well, let me just make this very clear. All U.S. presidents are related by blood. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are cousins. Very little in U.S. politics happens by accident.
Right.
Now, Mr. Nelson will tell you this. I started coming on his show in 1992. Now, I've been accurately predicting who the president was going to be since back when Jimmy Carter was president. But 1992...
Hang on a second, Mark. We got to take this quick break. 800-450-7876. You two can join the conversation with Mark from Anaheim and Dick Gregory. We'll take your calls now.
Human warning system. I cannot tell you as of December 8th, 2016, who will be swearing in January of 2017. That means we got a problem. We got a major problem. Serious problem in this country.
So something may happen between now and January 21st?
Well, if Jill Stein succeeds in her voter recount and they go to the Congress can make Ted Cruz the president and Mike Pence the vice president.
That's right.
And if they do, Mr. Nelson...
Well, hang on a second. Does it have to be somebody from the Republican Party? Can they make...
they can pick whoever they want, but they could be a Democrat.
Republican Party. Ain't no such thing as Republican Party and Democratic Party. Come on. That's your thinking. Let me just say something before we go to the next caller. When we sit around and look at, you got a car key, you can be sitting in Carl's house and punch it and your door open up. Y'all keep forgetting about technology, huh? Y'all sitting around talking about this crap they show you on the news. The news people don't even know it.
Go back and watch Ghost Dog. Ghost Dog is a movie that's over 10 years old, and Forrest Whitaker was opening any Mercedes-Benz he wanted because he had a device that would open any car that he wanted to steal to go out and do crime.
You know that story just broke yesterday?
It did. I heard it.
About your cause, and I say, but
and yet Ghost Dog came out more than 10 years ago, but now they're making it sound like it's news.
Now watch this. Mr. Anaheim, watch this here. You know.
I don't know anything.
Okay, you're right. My grandmother told me that. In the Clintons, with Monica Lewinsky, right?
Yes, sir.
That great picture on the White House lawn, right?
Yes, sir.
All the people there, is about 300. They got on summer white T-shirts. Y'all can Google it. Huh? She got on a winter outfit, and he got on a winter coat.
Exactly. In the middle of summer.
Did you hear me? So that's where you all are. Y'all sitting here. All you going to do is smell something on the stove cooking and run to it. I know it because my mom and them was like that.
I'm going to tell you something you don't know about that. In 1992, as you know, Election Day is Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Right here in the Orange County version of the L.A. Times, they ran a 2-page ad in the Sunday newspaper. Remember now, Sunday, 2 days before Election Day. And it has a photograph of Chelsea, the dog, Hillary, and Bubba. I call him Bubba because I don't know if you know this, Brother Gray, but one of my naval intelligence mentors, his son, worked in the law firm with Bill and Hillary, so I knew about them before the White House. Anyway, so the four of them were walking on the White House lawn, and it says, "We would like to thank the following people for helping put us in the White House." Now, this is in the Sunday newspaper, Mr. Nelson, but the people don't vote till Tuesday. And you know why I caught hell about that ad? Guess who's one of the people's names they specifically name in that Orange County version of the L.A. Times?
Oh, yours?
Mine. So at LAPD, I come to work, and on my locker, the same office, by the way, Mr. Nelson, where I took you to go through the simulator, they're like, what the hell is this? So they have my name in the L.A. Times Orange County version, specifically helping to put Bill Clinton in the White House on Sunday, and you folks don't even vote till Tuesday.
Wow. 800-450-7876.
And that's why they hate me, by the way, because after all I did, and all they did for me, I turned them down, and I'm considered an outcast. Folks, I'm called what's a Ronin. If you don't know what a Ronin is, you Google this, RONIN. I'm highly trained. I'm highly educated. I'm very dangerous. And my mentors are all dead.
And so when you stop and think about the universe, y'all sitting here scared and running this. Let me tell you something. Them crackers in July the 3rd, 1976, they said, we cannot be the face of liberty. That was George Washington. All
correct. In fact, we have to sometimes refresh the tree of liberty with the blood.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is take this bell here, polish it up, call it the Liberty Bell, and tomorrow at 12 noon, July the 4th, 1770, we'll hit it. But they didn't understand that real force cracked that bell from the bottom all the way up to the top and baffled their mind. They couldn't even turn it around. So when you think about liberty in America, think about a cracked bell. Okay? That's what this is about. You see, you think they don't control a damn thing.
They do not.
They play the game. So when I sit around and see Trump with all his craziness, well, let me ask you a question, man. I know you know. I wouldn't ask too many people that. You know about Hitler's SS troops, right?
Absolutely, sir. Many of them were my mentors.
Okay, hold it. I didn't ask that.
Yes,
you
sir.
heard about the SS, the FAs. You know the FAs, right?
Yes, sir.
Most folks, that's that elite group of homosexuals that put Hitler in power.
That's correct.
He killed them all.
That's correct.
All right. So what you Jews went through and homosexuals went through, you ain't seen nothing like what's fixing to happen now.
That's correct. And now let me tell you folks something what Brother Greg just said. President Obama is the one who gets the rap for repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell. That's a damn lie. It was the Republican Party log cabin boys, all gay, that created that whole thing. The Koch brothers, along with the most filthiest, rich, right-wing Republicans in this country, have been funding behind the scenes the campaign for transgender and the gay agenda.
And so what happened, Hitler was scared of them. He killed them all.
He absolutely did.
It's called the night the lake turned red, and it's called the night of the long knives.
That's correct, sir.
That's what the whole piece is about. And when Eisenhower came through and and sent the what's the name, the tank man.
Well, hang on. Now, see, here, Brother Greg's alluding. Let me just tell you folks something, because this is close to my heart. All you black folks who think you're Black Panthers, you got your name from Patton. Because Patton was the one who headed black tankers in the original Black Panthers in World War II. It was the blacks in the Black Panthers who revealed the fact that the Jews were being exterminated at the Nazi camps. If it hadn't been for black troops, you wouldn't even know about the concentration camps. That's why for more than 50 years there's been a very special relationship between Jews and blacks. Unfortunately, too many Jews today don't know about that special relationship, and they've gone back to their racist anal poor attitudes. So what I'm trying to tell you is when Brother Greg is talking about George Patton led black troops, and that's why George Patton, of course, was assassinated and buried in Europe, because he was going to come back to the U.S.
In a car accident, and the autopsy hadn't been released to this day. Okay?
Yeah.
And he thought when Ike came in, okay, that Ike was going to send him ahead. He changed him from the tank division.
There you go.
To the
infantry, because I'm an infantry officer.
And and Patton was so happy because he thought he was going to get to Berlin.
Yeah, he got to Berlin all right.
Gets there first, splits the smalls. So he sent him. Eisenhower sent him north to Bavaria, and he got up there and saw some stuff, and he said, "This ain't witchcraft. What the hell is
it's the occult?" When Hitler first took over, the first thing Hitler did was go to Austria. You know what he grabbed, Mr. Nelson?
What was that?
Back in 1993, I did a radio show with you, and I told you the three most powerful things you want to have in your possession. The spear of destiny. That's what was used to stab Christ in the side and kill him. You want to have the Ark of Covenant, and then you want to have the Holy Grail. Well, the spear of destiny was in a museum in Austria, and Hitler took it. You want to know who's got the spear of destiny today, Mr. Nelson?
Where is it?
We do.
Mm.
So when you look at those stupid movies with Harrison Ford,
Yep.
those movies are based on a lot more realism than you will ever know.
See, okay, when you saw the movie Indiana Jones,
there you go.
About the
right. Hold that thought right there. We got to check the traffic and weather one more time. I'll let you finish up. We got a bunch of folks want to speak to you guys. 800-450-7876. Get you in. Speak to Gregory or Mark from Anaheim. Take your calls next on 1450 AM and also 95.9 FM. WOL. Thanks for rolling with us, folks. I just want to remind you, coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to be joined by Rolling Stone's investigative reporter, Greg Palast. He says that Donald Trump stole the election, and he says he can prove it as well. He calls Trump a commander-in-chief. And coming up in the next few days, Dr. Walter Williams is going to be here. He's put $5,000, maybe $10,000 on the line, I think it's maybe 20 years ago. He says if we can prove to him that a man named Jesus the Christ or Muhammad the Prophet walked on the face of this earth, this planet, he'll give you that money. He's had no takers so far. So we've got a bunch of folks from all across the country who want to speak to you guys. So if you can shorten up the answers, Mark and Dr. Greg, I appreciate it. So, Mark, I'll let you finish up what you were saying.
Well, I just want to tell you this real very quickly here. The reason why George Bush took the U.S. Armed Forces into Somalia is because let me just tell you this. The three most important things, your holy spear or the holy lance, because that's what pierced Jesus Christ in the side on the cross, the Ark of Covenant. Well, the holy spear gives you all power. The Ark of Covenant gives you all knowledge. The Holy Lance gives you everlasting life. We have the Holy Spear. The Ark of Covenant is supposedly somewhere in Ethiopia. That's why we went into Somalia, because Ethiopia is next door to Somalia. And for all you folks who don't know this, Somalis and Ethiopians are not considered black. They're not considered Africans. They're considered the darkest Caucasians on the planet. White folks in Europe and the United States kiss their ass and worship the ground they walk on because they have the Ark of Covenant, and they're still looking for it. So I'm just going to finish this quickly here by just telling you this, Mr. Nelson. For your listeners out there who do research, go back and watch the Indiana Jones movies, but also watch a movie with Keanu Reeves called Constantine. And Mr. Nelson, you know who the other star in that movie was? the brother who was in the movie Amistad. You want an idea about the Holy Lands, the Holy Spear, all power? We got the power, and we're ruling this planet right now, and they're still trying to find those artifacts. And that's why when Brother Greg said they won't kill me, let me just make this very simple for you. They have put contracts out on me, and other people have canceled them. When I got orders to Grenada, canceled the next day. Orders to Kuwait, canceled the next day. Orders to Iraq, Afghanistan, you name it. Somebody in the Pentagon canceled the next day. You know why? Because they truly believe that I am some reincarnated white man, and I have secrets that they're still trying to tap into.
That's right.
I wish I was making this up.
All right, hang on there.
So quickly,
Go ahead,
I'm talking to Mark now. You know what happened when the building was blown up in Oklahoma, right?
The Murrah building, Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah, and they arrested the guy and said
Timothy
he was
McVeigh and his Terry Nichols.
Okay, now watch this here. Y'all can Google this. Okay, FBI paid Nichols' mortgage paper show.
That's
They
correct.
went into court. He was on the government's payroll. They was paying his mortgage. The
That's correct.
FBI made mortgage payments on Terry Nichols' home. This is a court document.
That's correct.
After he was arrested and before he was convicted for conspiring to bomb the Oklahoma City part. I met somebody that knew him. I said, ask him this question. They gave him the electric chair, but he didn't die. Okay? And one of the news people says his finger was moving. Okay? This is what go on while y'all sitting around beating circles.
There's a lot more that goes on to that, Brother Greg. Let me just tell listeners real quick, because I know there's a lot of cops listening today.
The Boston bombing. Look, I ran the Boston Marathon 5 times. They go, all your friends, if I'm running it this year, y'all will be there. Y'all can party on the weekend because you don't have to run. It's run on the holiday, okay? It's run on Monday, Patriots Day. And so on Monday morning, about 80,000 people show up, all the friends, at the beginning. Why didn't he blow up the beginning? Huh? Why
Exactly.
Why
and by the way, Greg, you don't know this, but I was on the radio show with Carl Nelson moments after that bombing. And I said if they really wanted to do damage, they would have done the bombing during the race, not at the end of the race.
Yeah, now finish it up. At the race, they blew it up 2 hours after the race had finished with the top. Because had they blown it up when the top marathoners in the world, they'd have killed them all and it wouldn't have been no marathon races.
Correct.
For enough. And so this is the game. But you gullible, you evil, and that's why it happens to you. All the stuff y'all be doing, if I run a whole house and you rent me the house, you just as evil as I am. But y'all don't know that. You sit and vote for the lesser of the evils, and then when you sit and you look at what they're doing, you know this, brother.
I know nothing.
When they shot Kennedy didn't die till April of 71. Okay,
that's correct. And by the way, Brother Gregory, Mr. Nelson, do you know who was the body double for John F. Kennedy?
No, who was that?
Lee Harvey Oswald was never accused of killing Kennedy.
That's
he was
right.
accused of killing Dallas police officer Tippit.
Tippit, yes.
Is a body double for John F. Kennedy.
Okay.
Wow.
And so when
I'm
you
saying
stop
a lot of stuff today because I don't know if I'm ever going to do another radio show.
Oh no, we can get your thoughts
life out there today.
so Kennedy, Lee Harvey Oswald got the job on Elm Street.
Correct.
Kennedy's car was never ordered to go down Elm Street.
That's correct.
For 30 minutes for the shot. How did Lee Harvey Oswald get the work at the book depository on Elm Street?
That's correct.
6 weeks before.
That's
and
correct.
the book depository, that's owned by the Kennedy Foundation.
That's
See how
correct.
vicious and nasty they are?
And who rebuilt Daily Plaza? LBJ Construction Company.
Yeah. So this is a game.
No, it's
But you
not
don't
just a
know
game.
it.
Mr. Nelson, listen to me, because Gray has no idea what I'm about to say. I'll just say this. There was somebody running for U.S. president, and I was a few feet away from him to take him out. I can't talk anymore, but I will just say this. What Greg is alluding to, folks, go back and watch the movie Salt with Angelina Jolie if you want to know how far back this goes with folks that are involved with the Boston Marathon. And there's also a movie with Sidney Poitier where he is working for the Air Force, but he's actually working for the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes after a young boy in San Diego whose parents were Soviet spies, and the boy didn't even know it until they needed him. You folks have no idea what's going on.
All right, let's see if we can get another call in here real quick. 800-450-7876. Jane's calling us on line 5 from Greenville in North Carolina. Jane, you have a question for Greg?
Or South Carolina?
Or Mark from Anaheim. She's calling
Hello,
from North
how you
Carolina.
doing? Good evening to you all.
Sis, are you from North Carolina or South Carolina?
North Carolina.
And what's your name again, sis?
My name is Jan.
For you folks who don't know out there, because I know we run out of time, Greenville is the most common name in the United States. So go ahead, sister.
Okay. Yes, my question is, I wish that you and Mr. Gregory would have some good news for us. Please tell me that there is something that's going to happen to prevent Donald Trump and the people that he's appointing from taking office. Because it looks like everyone he's picking is someone that wants to tear this government down. And also, with those artifacts, the Spear of Destiny, the Ark of the Covenant, and the Holy Grail, will those artifacts work for people with evil intentions? And I'll take it off the air. Thank you.
So, Brother Greg, you want to take this one, or you want to put my life on the line again?
No, you can go. I'm going to put your life on. Look,
all
let
right,
me tell you something.
Go ahead, brother.
The killing in South Carolina, that never happened. Now, I don't have to be validated by you all, okay? It never happened. The killing, did you know that church is where Juneteenth was invented? That ignorant redneck white
not
boy.
Just Juneteenth. That church, by the way, I have no love for, and I am from Charleston. You know why I have no love for them? Because the greatest slave uprising in U.S. history that most folks don't know about was planned in that church, and house Negroes went and told their white slave masters about
No, back up. It was two of the big revolutionists, right?
Yes, sir.
They killed one. They killed 16 people on the corner, and then passed a law that no black church could hold a service unless it was two white cops there. That stayed for 50 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's.
Oh, and finally, wait, stop, Brother Greg. So, folks, for you all who don't know this, let me tell you how Dick Gregory and I met. We met less than a mile from that church back in 1980 when he told me that Ronald Reagan would be shot, Nancy Reagan would be running the country, and Ronald Reagan would be surviving the shooting.
The whole game. Okay? And so what happened is, I didn't meet you there. You know that whole house across the street? That's where I was coming out of.
That's a secret, bro.
I bumped into you. Okay,
no, I
want
was
you to
that.
hear. Here,
Here's
this
good.
Here's this good. You can pull it up on Newsweek wire service. That's the CIA's wire service.
That's correct.
Here's what it says.
Well, one of them.
U.S. to fast track $29 million to help the Charleston shooting victim's family. Are y'all crazy? Okay. You ain't heard about this until I told you. You ain't heard about it until you hear it on this radio show.
That's correct.
The Justice Department will fast track the sending of $29 million to South Carolina to help the family. Are y'all crazy? And y'all sitting here. And what I like about Anaheim, he tolerates it. I just say, Carl, I got something to do. You know, I know too many people. I had 3 researchers that's been murdered.
And that's why I don't go back home, because if I stay out here in California, my family is safe. If I go back to South Carolina, I ain't going to tolerate that, and my family's not going to be safe.
You hear me? So that's what the game is. And so what y'all get when you turn the radio off or get through, lay down and let the real universe talk to you and tell you, huh? We knew. I'm going to finish with this real quick. Me and Kathy Hughes used to do a show in the morning. There is no more spiritual, brilliant mind that I know of. So the last day of the show, which was Friday, and I said, Kathy, I can't think of her name.
Princess Di.
Princess Di?
Princess Di. I said, the Princess Di owe you any money?
You mean the one that had the Muslim baby in her womb?
You hear me? You hear me? The one that had it cut out on the highway?
Hell yeah.
So I said, Kathy, do she know what you talking about? I said, well, she knows if the wench owe you any money, you better get it, because she'd be dead before the week. That was Friday. That night, me and Kathy and a bunch of friends was coming out to move and saw these strange lookers and said, what happened? I said, oh, Princess Di, she was killed tonight. Okay. So we played the tape.
Hey, Greg, don't be downplaying it, because you did the same thing with Robert F. Kennedy's assassination. You made a bet on TV with Robert Kennedy, and you told him if he goes to L.A. right here, comes to the Ambassador Hotel, give me my money now, because you'll be dead.
That's right. Okay? This is the game. Now, the last thing, you don't need to punch up. I'm sure you might have it. The number one book you should read.
Hang on a second, Greg. We got to take a break here. We're closer to the top of the hour. I'll let you finish on the other side. 800-450-7876. Get your in calls next on 1450 AM, 95.9 FM. WOL.
There it is. Kill people they ain't never met. You crazy? I've said since I was a little boy, if this God don't kill and wipe out America, okay, then he knows he or she owes Simon and Gomorrah a serious apology. You think you clean? If somebody's raping you and I'm holding to your hand, they can't get me for rape, but I've committed a crime. And this one you ain't going to slip by. Even my mother, she was here. She would say, I'm crazy. I might be crazy, but you going to die like me and my family, because you part of it, okay?
So, Brother, Mr. Nelson, I know we got to go, so I just want to finish this up with Brother Greg. He mentioned Budapest. Most of my mentors were not only World War II Nazis, but they're from the Austrian-Hungary regime.
Yeah.
And he didn't finish up on Ronin. You folks, I told you I am a Ronin. I'm highly educated. I'm highly trained. And all my mentors are dead. If you want an idea what I'm talking about, see the Robert De Niro movie Ronin. Because in that movie, which came out 6 months before it happened, it shows you how they were planning on killing Princess Di in that summer. Right, Mr. Nelson? Right, Brother Greg? Thank you, Michelle Obama.
All right. Thanks, Mark, man. Thank you, Gregory.